and then was at No Fear. Did a lot of stuff there, actually put together a manufacturer deal and started making some serious money. I mean, I went from making like 50 grand a year to $45,000 a month.
Have you heard how Jason's doing? Like, is he doing good? Yeah, there you go. That's so sick. I got flamed online for reading a DM from J Law saying that he was coming back to. I knew it was going. That's why I knew it was going. Gas Armor Energy. You were putting together a deal. How close was that from happening? What was what actually happened there? Because I never chased it up.
I met a gypsy.
Have you heard how Jason's doing? Like, is he doing good? I know the guy fucking loves to ride. Yeah, there you go. That's so sick. Oh, dude, I love that guy. He is, so he's alright. He's doing okay. Or?
Yeah, riding. Rides his dirt bike, and haven't talked to him for a while. I know that I texted him a while ago when we were talking a couple months ago about doing this, and he didn't respond. And I said, "Hey, I'm going to be doing Gypsy Tales." He's like, you want to know what you can talk about or something like that. And I just was like, hey, I'd like Jason at some point, I know, to tell, I think, his story and all the story, whatever he wants to tell. And then I think there's a lot that others can come in and share to that, whether it be the good, the bad, and the ugly, because there definitely was some good, the bad, and the ugly on all sides. Like any of us, there was craziness on a lot of different, So, I want that to be his story that he wants to tell. And, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, I mean, Jason and I did a lot together, and it was a lot of fun doing it. It was very, definitely it was a lot of mental drain and stress. And, but, was always trying to do what I thought was best to give him the best chance, not only to do well racing, but to do well in life. And so, put my effort the best I could into it, and I think it'd be fun to hear his story and his side, and I know many would like to hear it.
Yeah, and that's honestly why I didn't even really want to bring it up. Like it's he's one of those guys where I definitely, I mean, even if he never wants to do the podcast or whatever, I definitely want to go and fucking ride with the guy one day. Like maybe when I get to the States, I'll hit him up and see where he's at and just put a bike in the back of a truck and go ride with the dude. But because I think he's got. I just want to know like what his life was like how he ended up being the dude that he was. Because fuck, he was a bad dude. There's not many guys that can party like that, get into the shit that he was getting into, and then go out and lead Daytona Supercross in your first, like, just iconic. Like, there's not another dude that could do that.
Again, there's even other stories, but I'll let him tell those that you would just blow your mind. Like, there's stories that, that I when he's ready to tell them, people they'll be entertained. I can tell you that. Yeah. So, I mean, and it was amazing that he was able to do what he did and the way he approached it, whether with the fitness and the training. And I mean, he did ride his dirt bike a lot, and that is what you do when you race. That is what you do when you race. So, I mean, I guess the disappointment for myself is it was a light that burned so bright that then, that then eventually just doesn't burn it. It burns in the minds of people, and it's still there because it burned so bright at one point. Yeah. I just, for me, as where I was with him with it all, it would have just been a lot more rewarding. I mean, it has to be rewarding for him to continue to do it and want to continue to do it. But it was fun. I mean, I had fun being a part of it, had fun doing what I did to I mean, shoot, we were thrown with, we had to throw a team together, within months in '09.
And it looked
when,
so badass.
It was amazing. I mean, the look, the semi, the bike, the gear all had the same look. I mean, thanks to Mark Blanchard, helped put all that design together from 100% at the time One Industries. But the look was amazing. Everything was amazing, and all the stuff that we sponsors, Monster and AMPM and Boost Mobile and 2XL, which was the headphones, headphone company. Anyway, big deals, big sponsors, and and it was. That was a lot of fun being able to then also utilize what I love doing, which was pitch and sell deals, and had somebody that I felt like could have continued on for quite a long time based on what his ability and talent was. So, and especially the marketability, the love, hate, which all of that stuff, I think it's Madonna is one that coined, good publicity, bad publicity, it's still publicity. And I think that was definitely something that was on Jason's side on that part for sure.
Yeah, I think that's something that kind of hampers people in motocross in general, is that everyone's just trying to be loved. Like, no one wants any hate, and it's just like, even for me, I've learned in this, I feel like we're pretty lucky with people, but you can go, if you search Gypsy Tales on the Vital forum, you get like pages and pages, like literally pages of people that think I'm a fucking moron, and it's like, that's cool. Like, I'm I don't want to be loved by it. It's pointless, and you're so right. Like the love that hey, just watch, be entertained, tell your mates I'm a dickhead, like tell your mates it's all what doesn't matter. Like, this is all a good thing, that there's like this. It's good that people care, and I talk about bikes and interview right people, blah blah blah. It's good. There's good for the sport that we have like that level of engagement, And I think that J-Law was a dude that had that figured out. Like, he didn't give a fuck if people loved him or hated him, and like there's so much power in that.
He definitely didn't, but I will say though that he didn't, and he definitely wasn't doing anything to appease people. He wasn't going to conform. You got to go sign autographs, you got to this, you got to that. He wasn't going to do what he didn't want to do. But I will say that I think that maybe some of that stuff did have an effect on him though. Like, I can't speak for him, but I do think that some of the writings and some of the people would say some pretty nasty stuff, I agree with that. Even myself, like when I've read stuff about myself that people didn't even know the truth about. Even, that's where I made an amends with Steve Mathis, where it was like, and when I heard stuff that was said, others said on, someone had sent me a clip of a podcast, and it's like, they didn't even know. But yet at the end of the day, I let all that go. I made an amends, and I'm like, forgiveness, not revenge. So that to me was like, they didn't know. They weren't there. They don't know the truth. But you know what? Whatever. I know the truth. I know what I did. I know what I didn't do. And I'm comfortable with that. And for me, I'm not going to harbor any anger or hate or ill will. I'm just going, I know the truth, and I think though that it can definitely, I can see where these high level athletes and sports figures and celebrities, and where you're like, that can definitely get in your head and it screw you up. So.
Yeah. And that's been like one of my points of contention. Like, I've had like my issues with some of those people that, have written just like completely non-factual shit. Like, I push back pretty hard on the whole like Cheech and Chong fucking J-Law Hill thing. It's just like, Hill told me he literally had never smoked weed ever when that article got written. And then when he had to get drug tested from Yamaha, like that there is a point where like that shit really has negative consequences on the athletes that make up the sport. And it's like, hey bro, you get paid by these, like there's a level of protection that you should hope to give these guys. Like, don't do anything that can like really hurt these guys, especially if it's not factual. Like, you have to respect that you only have this voice because you have these guys to talk about. And I think that, that was kind of like an error, because at that point, I mean, I read, when I was a kid, dude, I read cover to cover every single Racer X, every single Trans World, and every single motocross action from when I was like 11 to when I was like 20, you know? So it's like, I know what those guys were right. Like, I know what people wrote about these dudes. And then when I kind of got to be in the industry and you learn like what actually was going on, or what, you know, you get something from Hill saying like, because I would read that shit, I'd be like, fuck, Hill's a stoner, you know, like that's crazy. And it's like, when you learn it's not true and the damage that it does. And so I think like, I would just hope that we've moved away from like that era of journalism. And I think that, you know, like the podcasting, guys having their own social media, all that, you know, like maybe if Instagram was around, and maybe if J-Law could have told his side of the story more, had platforms to go on that could kind of like combat the quote unquote like mainstream narrative, like maybe that was a better place. Maybe he was just caught in a time where riders didn't have their own voice. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely like a thing that would piss me off, is when you see like the negative consequences that media has on a guy where, you know, in my opinion, I'm like, dude, that was just we wasted an opportunity, like such a massive opportunity wasted.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, the disappointment for me is that I think that there was a lot more to get out of it, but you know, but it had to be a decision that he wanted, you know, he wanted to get out of himself. It's not like, you know, but I like I said, as a doing what I was doing at the time and being the guy that was making a lot of those opportunities happen deal wise. I mean, you know, that was my ride versus his ride on the track. You know, his ride was on the track and doing what he did on the track. You know, my success in ride was doing what I did to take advantage of what he was doing out on the track and or out there. So when that came to an end, you know, yeah, it was just disappointing because I felt like there was a lot more to realize from it, not just for financial gain. It was exciting. It was fun. It was, I loved watching as a racer and a rider. I mean, I loved watching Jason. He was entertaining. I mean, it was entertainment. I mean, it was, you know, watching racing to the guy was awesome to watch. I mean, and like I said, it was always going to be exciting. I mean, dude, the clean outs and, you know, just all that. I mean, he loved that stuff.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com. packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.